This is the Jerry Doyle Show.
Tonight, I'm happy to announce that I'm going to be supporting Governor Romney.
Say it isn't so, Senator Rand Paul. So say some who say Senator Rand Paul has riled the Romulans in supporting Mitt Romney as the nominee for the Republican Party. Is he turning his back on his dad? Is he turning his back on the Ron Paul movement? Joining us on the program to talk about it is Jack Hunter, talk show host, official campaign blogger for the Ron Paul 2012 election campaign, the Southern Avenger, the author of The Tea Party Goes to Washington. Jack, welcome back.
Good to be with you, Jerry.
Now, what's going on here? A lot of people are saying too soon, Senator.
Well, perhaps, and everyone's inclined to their opinion. In many ways, this isn't a surprise. Senator Paul has said for the longest time, and I guess a lot of people just either didn't pay attention or didn't want to hear it, that whoever the eventual nominee was, that he would endorse. And that could have been Rick Perry or Michelle Bachmann. It happens to be Mitt Romney. So there's nothing new there. This is something that I knew would happen eventually. I don't see it as Rand compromising his principles as much as wanting to defeat Barack Obama, as many Republicans do. I think it says more about not the difference in philosophy that he and his father have, because they basically have the same libertarian-leaning Republican constitutionalist philosophy. It says more about the relationship they have with the party at large. He is different from his father in that way, but it's certainly not a compromise of his principles or what he believes in or what we believe in, and I say that as a member of Ron Paul and his movement.
Yeah, in the letter that Ron Paul sent out where he said, I won't be the nominee, he said, stand up for what we believe in. Our revolution is just getting started, and I hope you'll continue to stand with me as we go forward. When I see we, our, and we, I'm not sure that Mitt Romney would be included in the we, our, we part of what it is the Ron Paul movement has been about. And a lot of people, if you go to Daily Paul, a lot of people are not happy that the senator, as you have pointed out, has said that he will always support the nominee, jumped on this Mitt Romney campaign so quickly. And a lot of people feel like, well, wait a minute. If we stand for what we believe in, and we believed in Ron Paul, then why now do we have to all of a sudden go, well, that was then and this is now? And I understand the politics of it, but I also understand the frustrations of the people who say we really need to keep doing something to end up with some better outcome. And now it just seems like everybody's rolling over so that Republicans win and Democrats lose. And how's that worked out for us so far?
Well, that's exactly right. I'd like to note two things. First of all, you notice that Senator Paul did not endorse until his father made clear that he would not be the nominee. A lot of people sort of missed out on the fact. Second of all, Rand Paul said something very interesting during the 2010 campaign. He said he wanted to be judged by how he voted, not how he campaigns. When he gets up there in the Senate, the issues that if he votes on the right side. Now, I know very few Ron Paul supporters who would not agree that Senator Paul has been every bit his father's son in how he votes. There's a difference between strategy and doing things to sort of infiltrate and take over and influence the Republican Party, and then when the rubber hits the road, when it comes down to brass tacks, doing the right thing. Rand Paul has always voted on principle, just like his father, voted for the things that constitutional conservatives believe in. If Mitt Romney becomes president, let's say, and is spending money like the last guy, as I personally think he will, I'm not supporting Mitt Romney, who is going to be standing up to that sort of spending? Not the Democrats. Will there be some sort of conservative resistance in the Republican Party that did not exist when George W. Bush was president? Yes, there will be. And who will be leading it? Senator Rand Paul. This is not a compromise of principles. This is the same sort of strategy that Rand Paul has sort of conducted since he's got up there on Capitol Hill. He does not want to make enemies needlessly in the party, but he will not compromise his principles. There's a big difference there.
Last night, Senator Rand Paul was on with the focus group phony Sean Hannity on Fox News. And I want you to listen to the choir boy, Hannity, talking with Senator Paul about Ron Paul's status. And listen to the beginning of this closely, because this has been the hopes and the dreams of the status quo of the Republican Party for a long time. Take a listen.
First of all, before you say what I think you're going to say, did you check in with your congressman father, presidential candidate, who I guess officially finally dropped out of the race?
Stop it right there. Tonight, officially, finally dropped out of the race? Because that's what the Republican establishment has wanted Ron Paul to do forever. is finally, will you get out of the way and let the machine take over? We've decided who the nominee is going to be. Please get on board, and we can continue to sell Republicans are good and Democrats are bad. If I was Senator Rand Paul and he said, finally, your dad got out of the race, I would have got up and I would have left the interview.
Well, that's exactly right. And, Jerry, we're sitting here talking about Senator Paul's endorsement, what a big deal that is, and, confusing to a lot of Paul supporters. That's not even on Sean's radar screen, really, so, because it really is, donkeys and elephants, and that's all it comes down to. There's so many different things we could say about this. I sort of admire how Rand walks that line between playing nice with the Republican Party when he needs to advance the principles we believe in, while at the same time sticking to those principles in a way that other people in his position might not be able to. And he doesn't go to his father, as Cliff insisted, and his father doesn't go to him. Believe me, they're very libertarian in their personal attitudes, but still he is very much his father's son, and his philosophy is his father's philosophy. A lot of people confuse principle with methodology. And there is a difference in the methodology, but the principles are the same.
When, by the way, Jack Hunter is with us, a Southern Avenger, southernavenger.com, his website, ronpaul2012.com, that website, and you can follow Jack on Twitter at Southern Avenger. You just said a statement there, Jack, about playing nice with the Republican Party. Has the Republican Party been playing nice with the Ron Paul movement? When you take a look at Bill O'Reilly just dismissing poll results because he doesn't like the way they turn out, Bill O'Reilly trying to throw Ron Paul under the bus by suggesting that because of his move towards decriminalization of drugs, that's the reason we have child molesters in this country. The attempts by Chris Wallace and others at Fox to make believe Congressman Paul doesn't exist. So they're playing nice with the Republican Party that didn't play nice with them. And here we are ending up in the same place where we were, where we get these weak-ass candidates like Johnny McAmnesty, and now we're going to get Mitt Romney with his newfound conservative religion. And I look at it from an end-user standpoint, and for me, it's just not working.
Well, absolutely, and you use the term play nice. Look, the Republican Party hasn't played nice with us for a long time, and you need to hit back as much as they hit us. That needs to happen. I've been in the middle of these scraps, if you will, plenty of times. Even had national talk hosts call me out by name on the radio and say some pretty nasty things. It happens. But at the same time, the neoconservatives, the Republican establishment who don't like Ron Paul and who don't like Rand Paul would like nothing better than to marginalize Rand. In some of the ways they've been successful in marginalizing Ron, to take Rand Paul, put him in the corner and say he's crazy, he's libertarian, and constitutional ideas are crazy. Look at him. He won't even endorse the Republican nominee. He's a marginal figure. Don't listen to him. They become afraid to the extent that he's not seen as that by the larger Republican Party and the larger electorate. Now, it's a tricky thing to do that, and I think he's been very successful in doing that. To me, and this is not, I'm not an official spokesman for Rand Paul, though I have worked with him and his staff in the past. For me, this is another example of Rand Paul not allowing himself and our movement and our ideas to be marginalized. When we look back at whether the endorsement of Mitt Romney in 2012, I don't think it'll amount to a hill of beans whether Barack Obama wins or Mitt Romney wins, but Rand Paul maintaining his status as a guy who can attract mainstream support and still have those liberty movement principles, that is an amazing feat, and he continues to do it, and I see this as just another continuation of that.
I like the fact that he's on offense because, unfortunately, too many times a lot of people, especially in the Republican Party, have been on defense. They just wait for something to happen, and then they react to what happens. At least he's, I guess, in a certain way, taking charge of what is happening. But what happens to the Ron Paul movement going forward? It's the same thing with the Tea Party meeting up against the Washington establishment. One's trying to co-opt the other. And you listen to former Governor Haley Barbour of Mississippi. He says, well, if you take a look at the issues and you replace Tea Party with the Republican Party, it matches up every time. No, it doesn't. There's a reason there's a Tea Party. It's because the Republican Party lost their way. The Tea Party came along and said, nope, sorry, we're going to show you what the path is. So now that Rand has moved towards the Republican Party to try and draw the Ron Paul supporters with him, which I believe is probably the deciding factor of whether Romney gets elected or not, now the battle becomes who's going to Zoom who. Is the Republican Party going to play nice with Rand Paul? and by doing so try to co-opt him, or is Rand going to maintain, that kind of independent streak that he has and tell the Republican Party there's a new sheriff in town?
Like his father, Rand Paul will not be co-opted. He might not have the same methods or the same style, but that will not happen. He's a man of principle. What we're going to see in Tampa is two things. Obviously, the coronation of Mitt Romney, but more importantly, to people like me and you and others listening out there, it's going to be the first most high-profile demonstration of exactly how the GOP is becoming Ron Paul's party. And what I mean by that, we've already estimated, 20 to 30% of the people on the floor are going to be our people. We're accumulating delegates. We're going to have influence. Our voices will be heard. It could be like Barry Goldwater in 1960 or Ronald Reagan in 76, where it was obvious where the floor was at, where their hearts were at, where the party was moving, despite who the nominee was. Moderate establishment types in 60 and 76, and of course, that's what I personally consider Mitt Romney to be. That's what's going to be happening in Tampa. We're not going to be co-opted. Is it going to be messy, taking what used to be a fringe small movement, sort of relegated to Ron Paul, has exploded into this national phenomenon? Is it going to be messy, pushing that into the mainstream? Yes. Is it going to be confusing? Yes. Days like today, or a day like today is a good example.
Right.
But as we continue to do it and we continue to win, you're going to see a microcosm of that in Tampa. We are winning. We're changing the party. And this, I've said it a million times, this is only the beginning. I mean that. I can't stress enough how much that is true.
I agree with you. And here's one of the things that Ron Paul said that I really think is important and shows what a class act he is. Besides saying stand up for what we believe in, he said, be respectful, but let the establishment know that we are the future of the party and of the country. Our revolution is just getting started. And he says, our revolution could not have come this far without you. Be respectful. Let the establishment, the status quo, know that we're here, and you're going to hear a lot more from us. And I believe that to be true, because this is a movement that they have tried to squash, they've tried to marginalize, they've tried to minimalize, and it's now a solid enough voice that going forward, they're going to have to listen to them, because a lot of people know that what has been happening isn't working, and what needs to be done has been embraced by too many people to ignore.
That's exactly right. This is a movement about ideas, not individuals. Of course, it's centered around individuals, as the Goldwater and Reagan movements were, but it's about ideas ultimately. If Barack Obama gets beat, and we beat Democrats in the future at all different levels, what kind of Republican Party are we going to replace them with? Beating Democrats is not a philosophy. What do we stand for? Are we going to be serious about the Constitution and cutting spending and government, having a more sane forward policy perhaps? That's what this movement's about. We're redefining the party. The GOP really is an ideological vacuum right now, and it's being filled with our people, not only because it's there for the taking, but also we're the only really substantive philosophy on the American right now that makes any sense. The rest of the GOP is just, well, Obama sucks. I'm sorry, Obama sucks is not a philosophy. It's not good enough.
Now you know why he's known as the Southern Avenger. Jack Hunter, thank you, sir. Official campaign blogger for Ron Paul 2012. The website, ronpaul2012.com. Jack's website, southernavenger.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Southern Avenger. I have an idea, Jack, just to hip it up a little bit. If we're going to be in Tampa Bay, why don't we get the Tampa Bay Buccaneer cheerleaders? I mean, as long as we're showing a little something new to the stodgy, old, uptight, white Republican Party, let's throw a few Tampa Bay Buccaneer cheerleaders in there. Sis, boom, bah. Thanks, Jack. Have a great weekend.
Take care, Jerry. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. We're going to take a quick break. Stick with us. We will be right back here live at the Suncoast Casino. I'm Jerry Doyle. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Jerry Doyle Show.